Broadcasting to you from an undisclosed location deep within the Swamplands, this is Tales from the Swamplands, an old swamp-styled radio show curated for your contemporary capacities. I'm Benjamin Gaunt, author, disc jockey, speaker of truths, purveyor of fanciful fallacies, and all-around scholar of our dear metropolis here in the Swamplands. Greetings to all the busy bees, laboring beats, fluttering passerby, and those that weave to yet another episode of Tales from the Swamplands. You know, dear listener, I'm starting to think we got something good here. A whole week has passed without a cadre of crooked cultists busting down my door looking to shut down this here operation. Looking to put a sock in the horn of this here clarion call for the masses. Looking to inhibit my radio show in some third figurative way. But they didn't. They haven't. And all willin', they never will. Here we stand. Well, sit. I used to have a standing desk, but then I'd get tired. Now I use a sitting desk, and I'm still tired. Ain't that just the way? I know what you're thinking. I fully expected this intro. This is already amazing content. And definitely not a waste of my time listening to some hide-and-seek hermit muse on the mundanities of various office furnishings. Please never stop, you say. Tell me all about credenzas. Well, I hate to disappoint you, dear listener, but there's two problems with your request. One, credenzas are more of a dining room topic. And two, I don't actually think you've tuned into this here radio show to learn about my bunker's furnishings. Though, if that is your interest, more power to you. Maybe I'll make a bonus episode all about furnishing bunkers? More than likely, you've tuned in expecting to hear another tale from the Swamplands. But like life, it's often best to expect the unexpected, even if the unexpected's cupboards. Or in this case, an abrupt segue to introduce the topic of the week. This week's topic is expectations. Whether they're met to our satisfaction or dashed against the jagged rocks of life's cruel shores, expectations are an inherent part of life. You can call your shot, make the motions, and hope to yourself that the image of success rattling around in your noggin will come to fruition. Or sometimes there's a creeping dread lingering in the shadows, that the very worst outcome is not only possible, but damn near guaranteed. Well, my friend, I'm here to remind you that, like so many things in life, expectations are not that simple. You can hope and work for what you wish, and lament a possible doom around every corner, but that don't mean that they're waiting there for you. Some would disagree, that fate is a promise and your destiny's already written. Well, for one, that's up for debate. I have my own opinions on the matter. I used to have substantial expectations in my youth. I, for one, could not have possibly imagined what came to pass. As far as what could have been, or how much of my destiny was in my own hands, it's hard to say. Mayhaps that'll be a story for another day. But either way, even if there's a grand destiny waiting any and all of us, that don't mean it's got to be the one in our heads. Even destiny's got a way of surprising us time and time again. Expectations are more like a wakened dream. They're born of the mind's attempt to make sense of a future we can't claim to know, a mere possibility given life by the heart's bellows. We're just making shadow puppetry from the silhouette of that which is unnamed, unseen, and yet very real. I think I'll let that cover expectations for today. What, did you think I'd tell you more about the Swamplands or pull a story from the headlines? Shows what little good expectations have to offer. No, I think you get the picture. Instead, let's get to telling some tales. This week, we'll get wrapped up in another adventure from our favorite detective duo. Will there be lush sound design, corny jokes, and organic character building? As always, you can bet on that. As far as what happens next, well, it's worth a ponder or two, but best to leave most expectations at the door. I now present to you, dear listener, another tale from the Swamplands. Episode 2 of Neil Silva, Private Eye.
Strap in, dear listener, for another episode from your favorite intrepid investigator. He roots out the plots of evildoers and rights the wrongs committed daily against the everyday Swamplander.
Life in the Swamplands is hard enough. It gets a lot harder when you're flipping over rocks looking for trouble. I'm Neil Silva, Private Eye. I may not always know what I'm looking for, but boy can I flip a rock.
In the last episode of Neil Silva, Private Eye, Neil caught a lucky break. A real crime had crossed his path. And with it came a mysterious woman, one Regina Gray, whose interest in following the crime's trail gave Neil a chance to do what he did best: investigate. What leads will Gina's next destination provide for the unlikely duo? Find out now on Neil Silva, Private Eye.
Now arriving at Swamplands Square.
Do you find it weird that we're riding the same millibus that ran over that guy?
Not particularly, no. It's cheaper than a cab and better than walking to the Capitol Tower.
Right, but never mind. So, you got your notebook there.
That's right.
Good. Glad we got that back for you.
Yes, thank you again for that.
Oh, don't mention it. Just doing my job. I wasn't quite sure what to make of my partner in crime busting. Sure, she made me feel all sorts of things. Curious, intrigued, worried, a number of other feelings I'd have to file away for another day. We had a mission. Find Gina's contact on Fold Goings-On and get a pulse on the movements of those blue-robed weirdos. For now, we had a few more stops before this bus would get us to the Capitol Tower. Gina would do whatever she did in her notebook, while I'd be left twiddling my thumbs and minding my own business. Or I could sneak a peek at what she was writing. For the investigation, of course. All right, let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Any outstanding factors in this investigation at this point become... Neil, if you are reading this, stop reading from my notebook. I can tell you're still reading. Please stop reading. Try. Act natural. It's a bluff.
So?
So what?
Right. It seems then that you failed the test.
What test? Nobody told me there'd be a test, else I would have studied.
You shouldn't have to study in keeping your nose out of other people's business. Also, why do I get the impression that that just isn't the case? That you just walk in on test day and wing it?
Well, either way, I didn't know you'd be proctoring any exams. I thought we were a team. What's so special in that notebook that you gotta hide it from your partner?
Partner? We aren't partners. You're a hanger-on, albeit an occasionally useful one. Hired help in an investigation. No more.
So, I'm useful? And hired?
But aside from that, it's none of your business what's in my personal notebook. I just met you, and there's no way I'm going to let you read any information I haven't deemed relevant to you or the investigation. Is that clear?
Loud and... Look, I'm sorry. I don't know you either. Trust is a two-way alley, or so they say.
Do they?
I'm trying to piece together this whole thing, and I've got next to nothing to go on. All I have is that they're a horde of shady mooks, and you're a singular shady,
A mook?
Oh, you know what I mean. Give me something more to go on than they're bad news. I know a guy. Get in this ice-filled bathtub.
All right, Neil. I'm working alongside a special task force investigating the blue-robed figures. We have suspicions as to what they're up to, but not how or why.
And that what would be...
That's classified.
Thank you. A lot of help that is. So far, I'm looking for a horde of strangely dressed, petty thieves who happen to be involved with the Fold.
Look, I know I'm asking you to trust me here.
An ask which is getting increasingly harder to answer.
But I promise, if we can strike at this while the iron is hot, I'll tell you everything I can. For now, we need to meet up with my contact. He can let us in on any possible connections these goons could have with the Fold.
Fine. But I'm sitting in on the meeting. I can't keep being in the dark if you want me looking for smoke.
Deal. But, honestly, I didn't understand that last part.
Well, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? But I'd be in the dark, so...
If you're in the dark, shouldn't you be looking for fire? It's a lot brighter. You wouldn't even be able to see the smoke. Oh, this is our stop.
Jeez, I really gotta work on my snappy comebacks. Ah, the Capitol Tower. Or as most people call it, the Capitol Tower. You know, due to all the merchants and, money, but also governing. Believe you me, it's a lot funnier when red. Speaking of, this place couldn't get enough of it. Red, that is, the color, not the library kind. Everywhere you looked was some art of crimson spiders and webs. Sure, every district's got their own colorful, bug-themed iconography, but none so upsettingly morbid as the capital. Not that anybody minds much. Millions of citizens fill the rings and cypress knees of the tree tower and call it their home. One such citizen does the very same, and we aim to find out what he knows about our big blue problem. So, Gina, where to? Some low-level alleyway in the market?
Floor 278.
I'm sorry?
Well, no need to be. He's got an office on floor 278. This cloak and dagger stuff is, supplemental.
Well, all right. I suppose we got a ways to go then.
No worries. We can buy a couple tickets for the express elevator, and we'll be up in a flash.
Sure, of course we can. Just, one question. How much are said tickets? It's been a bit since I splurged on express elevator tickets.
Oh, 250 mil.
250 mil?
That's right.
Well, sure then. No biggie. Just a day's wages is all.
I'm sorry?
No need to be. Say, why don't we just take the stairs? We'll be up there in a jiff. Just a skip, hop, and a expedition.
That's funny. You never said you were funny.
Well, first off, who would say that about themselves? And secondly, I wasn't joking so much as, bleeding. You know what? We could take the public lift.
Rush hour on a mainline lift? In the capital, no less? No, thank you. We'd be better off walking than cramming ourselves into that tube for an hour.
Assuredly. But my, accountant says otherwise. You can ask him yourself.
Right, I follow. You can let your accountant know that I have this one covered. As part of your pay for the investigation.
He thanks you. As do I. Well, time to get going then. We got a ways to go. So you mentioned working in legislative capacities? How is it up in the higher levels? I've never been, but I hear that
We're here.
We're where?
Here. Well, nearly. Floor 278, suite 1301. He moved a couple months back, and I've yet to visit the new office.
So we aren't on floor 2? Or 12? We're here?
It's incredible what well-applied tech can achieve, isn't it?
Damn right. I'm almost sold on the ticket price. So what does your friend do, aside from telling tales out of school for lunch money?
Oh, he's an interior designer.
Your informant is an interior designer? What is he, part of the Color Swatch Mafia?
Oh, yes. I don't know what's higher, his thread count or his body count.
Gina, you never said you were funny.
All right, this is it. Let me do the talking so we can get what we need and go.
Why the rush? We've got a lot of rappelling after this.
No rush. It's just... Calvin's usually quite busy, so I don't expect us to stay for too long.
That's all?
Well, that and I may not have made an appointment? None whatsoever. So this will likely come as a bit of a surprise for him.
Oh, good then. We'll surprise our narc with an unannounced house call. What's not to love? I'm sure he's got plenty of rugs lying around to wrap us in.
It'll be fine. Probably. We'll just be brief and he won't mind. I think.
Good afternoon. This is Merit Design Co. May I have your name and the nature of your visit with us today?
Yes, this is Regina Gray of the office of Senator Alan Dermott. I have an unscheduled meeting with Calvin today.
Right. Unscheduled. Which means you don't have an appointment? And there's no meeting?
Not exactly. More that my time is valuable enough to warrant a meeting with Mr. Merritt. If his schedule would allow it, of course.
Of course. 1 moment, please.
That could have gone better.
Sure, I could have all the answers already. Let's hope it went well enough that he'll help us find the rest.
Also, I didn't know your time was so valuable. Yet you've spent half the day with a waterlogged barfly in a trilby.
Oh, quiet, you.
Mr. Merritt is finishing up his last meeting of the day, but he says he can fit you in afterwards.
Thank you.
On to a quick break, and we'll be back with more tales, and assuredly, more Swamplands.
Yes. Thank you for taking care of that. Okay. Goodbye. Oh. Welcome to Merritt Design Co. If you'll wait here, Mr. Merritt will be available soon. He wasn't expecting such distinguished guests. There are refreshments on the cart over there. Coffee, tea, muffins. Feel free to help yourselves whilst he finishes up.
Thank you very much. What are you doing?
Taking her up in the offer. I could use something warm to drink. Excuse me, miss.
Oh, Smith. Marilyn Smith.
Miss Smith, is there any tea in the back? I don't see any on the cart.
Oh, we must be out. Let me go find some for you. I think there's some in the office. I'll check with Mr. Merritt while I'm back there.
Oh, sure, thanks.
Making friends, are we?
When possible. Muffin?
No, thank you. Why make a fuss about tea if you just had coffee instead?
Good muffin. Blueberry.
Please, swallow first, then talk. Nobody wants to hear you chew.
Anyhow, I just saw that they were sorely lacking in tea. Figured I'd keep her in the loop. But a good cup of joe never hurt.
How altruistic of you. The guardian of lost tea bags. I hope he isn't much longer. Who knows where those goons are, what they're planning.
I'm sure some of us have a better idea than others. Maybe it's time for some altruism yourself. Maybe, I don't know, help out an investigator who's just trying to make an honest paycheck. You know, tell him what and who he's looking for.
All right, Neil. I'll give you this. They aren't with the Fold.
What? Then why are we here? Drapes, dinner plates?
It's as we discussed. Calvin has Fold insights. But from what the task force has gleaned, the Fold aren't involved. We're talking drug running, hack tech, wet works. Real messy stuff, but sloppy too. The technomancers working with the task force are confident that none of it is Fold related.
And yet, our trampled blue friend...
Right. He had a Fold sigil on his arm. Calvin's a good second opinion on Fold-related matters. Working with some of the richest technomancers in the city gives you a lot more than wealth or prestige. Knowledge. It can be priceless.
Hey, you're right about that. Here's a pop quiz. How long has Miss Smith worked for Merritt?
Don't tell me. She softened you up with muffins and hot beverages? When's the wedding? I can give you my RSVP now if you'd like.
So much for knowledge, huh? I suppose you don't involve yourself with the help.
I do so involve myself with service workers and keep myself well informed, thank you very much.
So, how long?
I don't know, a month? I haven't been back here since before the move.
Right, makes sense.
What are you getting at?
Well, not much, just a thought. I'm an investigator, so I tend to...
Investigate?
That's right.
I suppose I can ask Calvin for her number if you'd like, but I don't think it'd be wise to...
Oh, no, I'm fine, thanks. I would, though, like to ask you something, if you don't mind me asking.
And what, pray tell, would that be?
Well, look here. Do you see this refreshment cart?
Yes. Is this a trick question?
Not at all. Kind of small, though, isn't it?
Maybe you should be nicer to the help.
Just enough room for a coffee pot, a stack of cups, and a tray of muffins. No more.
What's your point?
My point, Gina, is that there's no room for tea on this cart. None whatsoever.
I see. Now I'm really glad I brought you along.
So Marilyn wasn't sure about the tea, right? She's new, maybe only a week or two on the job. But it only takes the first shift to realize that the office doesn't have tea out for its guests.
I think you were more bitter about the tea than you realized. Maybe add some sugar and...
Not only did she not remember the lack of tea, no, but she offered it in the first place, and then had to go look for it when it was missing.
And I'm sure it'll be the first note on her next performance review.
But beyond that, to look for it in Merritt's office instead of the supplies cabinet. See? Coffee and cups in here. No tea.
If this investigating thing doesn't work out for you, you could take her job. I'll put in a good word with management.
Oh, the investigation is nowhere near over. So far, we have 1, her forgetting that there isn't any tea in the office. 2, her looking for non-existent tea in the wrong place. What's 3?
Not adding scones to the cart? Maybe juice?
3, she didn't buzz Merritt on the intercom.
So,
that's day 1, minute 1 kind of stuff.
okay, I'll give you that. She's a lousy receptionist.
Then she knocked on the door.
Normal, I think.
And walked inside without asking.
Maybe he was stuck on a call.
And how long has she been in there looking for tea? She could have found a long-lost civilization at this point.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
And another thing, she didn't ask you to check in or give any identification, nor me. She didn't ask about me at all. She was unfazed by my presence.
Well, not totally unfazed. You are wearing a damp trench coat that's seen better days.
All I'm saying is, either she's a very bad receptionist or something stinks here, and it ain't my trench coat.
All right, I'll give you that, Neil. The suspicion, not the smell. I'll jot down the number of a good dry cleaner after we're done here. But what do we do? Barge into his office on a hunch? I don't want to rock the boat any more than I already have. You don't want to make an enemy of Calvin Merritt. He has a lot of friends with very specific tastes in decor who do terrible things to enemies of their interior designer.
I'll buy him a bottle of wine after this. Or bag of chips, stick of gum, whatever I can manage.
What do we do? Let her know another meeting is here?
Wait. What other meeting?
What do you mean, what other meeting? I told you he's busy. He barely had enough time to fit us in.
But don't you remember what Marilyn said? He's in his, quote, last meeting of the day. Well, aside from us.
You're right. Then who's...
What do we do?
You're asking me? I thought you had all the answers.
This wasn't on the test, and I didn't study. Answer it.
Me? You answer it.
I don't have the right voice. Yours is closer to hers.
Dung beat. All right, just give me a sec. I gotta get in character.
One-woman show at the Kaleidoscope? Caught me some tickets.
Shh. All right, here goes nothing.
Good afternoon. This is Merritt Design Co. May I have your name and why you're here? Why you're visiting, that is? Today?
Nailed it.
Yes, this is Roger Stillwell. I have an appointment with Mr. Merritt about rugs.
1 moment, please.
He's in a meeting at the moment. I'll buzz you in momentarily so you can wait in our lounge. So, how'd I do?
Well, I won't be needing those tickets anytime soon, but good enough for an intercom, if not for stage and screen.
Did he say he was Roger Stillwell? The talk show host?
Indeed he did. But I get the feeling that Roger Stillwell ain't shopping for rugs minutes before prime time. I'd bet my bus fare that the real Stillwell's in the scope right now, being slathered in a half-dozen layers of makeup.
So our friend at the door is...
I got a feeling I know the answer, and it ain't a good one. Let's check in on Merritt. Mr. Merritt, it's your 5 o'clock. Sorry we didn't call any sooner. We've had one heck of a day.
1 moment, please. Mr. Merritt's almost done with his meeting.
Fair enough. Would he mind letting us know himself?
Of course.
All's fine. I'll be with you in a moment. Thank you for checking on me, Mr. Silva.
Sure thing.
That wasn't his voice.
And how did he know my name? I still haven't given them my name.
Should we bust in there?
Look at Gina over here. Miss Regina Gray of the office of Senator Alan Dermott.
And a member of a task force built to take these goons down. Are you ready?
Born ready. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Jeez, it looks like a twister came through here. What in the blazes are you two doing?
Hey, you aren't Mr. Merritt. Who in Flame Slide are you two?
Stay out of this, you cockroaches.
Miss Smith, the Maryland. We had a good thing going. I would wait in the lounge and eat muffins while you look for tea. And your friend here would tear apart the office looking for who knows what.
Where's Calvin, you cerulean snot rags?
Nice one.
You'll be seeing him soon, I'm sure. Get them.
Well, what a sizable knife you have there. It's a pity you didn't bring any butter for this muffin.
And here, have some coffee to wash it down.
Who throws coffee?
Come on, we gotta make like 2 leaf buds and run. 2 more at the front door. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I really doubt it.
Hey, Mr. Stillwell, you look different in person. How about some muffins or coffee? I got a whole cart full.
Oh, my shins! That coffee's scalding! What's wrong with you?
Don't blame me. Blame the service.
Good one, but we gotta go.
Getting better though, right?
Great. More cobalt fiends coming through the elevator.
And how many more on the way?
No way of knowing. I've got it. This way. All right. This floor's flight deck. I'll get the pilot to take us somewhere. We're just lucky he's the only Beetle taxi on this floor right now.
Ooh, him? We can't afford a flight taxi this time of day.
Don't worry about that. Take care of the doors while I let him know.
Tied up with this.
Hey there. Windy up here, isn't it?
More than usual. We'll be waiting till the brunt of it dies down before taking off. Yous two can wait inside till then. I'll come get you when we're good to go.
Well, about that, actually, we gotta get out of here right now. Is there anything you can do?
Nope.
Loop-de-loop and pull and... that ought to hold him for a minute. I bought us a second, tied the door. Almost ready?
One moment. We've gotta go urgently, understand?
Tell you what. Give me a few seconds here to get Bessie up and running, and I'll take you where you want to go. That is, at triple premium rates.
Triple premium? That's ridiculous.
It's the urgent fee.
Fine, just get to it.
Roger, ma'am. Come on, Bessie. We got some dignitaries need rescuing.
Hey, Gina, I'm really trying with the door here, but I think they're gonna...
Neil!
Don't worry. I got this, goon. Everyone's all tangled up in harnesses. You go on without... Dung beats and swamp feet, that hurt.
We're ready, ma'am. Is your friend coming along? We gotta go now before those blueligans scare Bessie off this flat deck. She can't carry the carriage neither if she's too spooked. And I don't want to drop y'all hundreds of stories down. Understood?
Understood. Hooligans? I gotta remember that one. Neil, are you... Oh. Well, he's putting up a good fight. Oh, damn. The other one's free. Got it. Neil, do you trust me?
Less by the minute, but sure.
Time for our expedition.
Wait, what?
Let's go, darling.
Looks like your girlfriend hung you out to dry.
You're wrong twice, pal. She ain't my girlfriend. She's my partner. And furthermore...
Did he just jump off the flippin' balcony? What a nutter.
The only thing I'm hanging from is the side of this carriage. Now you two, you'll be hung out to dry. Show 'em a taste, Bessie.
Blast those suckers off the flat deck.
Get us off these roads.
You can't
So, how was that one?
Not half bad. You okay?
I'm doing just fine. You should see the other guys.
Nothing that, miss. Where to?
Well,
What? Out of ideas already?
sorry, it's harder to come up with ideas that don't involve food fights.
Well, it worked out, didn't it? Hey, pilot, I've got a destination for you. 23rd and Waller.
You got it.
What's the plan?
I got a favor to cash in with an old friend. And hopefully, there are less ambushes where he's at, or else we're way worse off than I imagined. What's become of Calvin Merritt? Who indeed are these Blueligans? And what do they want with our daring duo? And will those two goons be okay? I mean, sure, they grabbed hold of some ropes on the way down, but that's a long drop. Find out next time on Neil Silva, Private Eye.
Bet you didn't see that coming. Neither did they. But the best plan after the one that fails is the next one that doesn't. I'm not sure if that's a saying or just words. So, what then? Do we close up shop on our expectations and go on our merry way? Well, in some ways, yes. People are often more addicted to expectations than they'd like to admit. When you call your shot and nail it on the head, well, it's exhilarating. Life makes sense for once, as it often doesn't. It's mathematical. But, as we know, it's often a lie. Sure, some things are simple enough to take from point A to point B, but luck and outside influences are always at play. Bet on a sure thing and you make your mill. Bet it all on a dream, and you're in for a rude awakening. Instead, let's see expectations for what they are and what they can be, rather than what we wish they were. Not some magical shifting of fortune in our favor, nor portents of what's certain to transpire. Expectations are a hope. They're informed, but not guaranteed. They rat our ship when we have no other bearing, but only inasmuch as our own experience brings to the table. And when we expect ruin, our instinct should be to change what we're doing or batten down the hatches and prepare to weather the storm. That's all I got for this week. You may have noticed that the format of the program has shifted a bit from our inaugural outing. You can expect more alternation between the comedic and frightful each week. So if you're into stories of that which shivers the spine and tingles the mind, tune in next week for another installment of Into the Mire. And if daring adventures and buses and taxis and office lobbies are your poison, then make sure to return in a fortnight for another Neil Silva, Private Eye. But, of course, that too could change in the future. Expectations have a way of making us complacent. As for me, I'm going to walk out of this here bunker and march up to the Capitol to turn myself in for making a good radio show. Bet you didn't see that coming, did ya? Well, of course not, because that'd be dumb. Don't need a crystal ball to see that I'm staying put. The upside? I'm snug as a bug in a rug. And you, dear listener, know where to find me. Audibly, that is. May you make your tale what you wish it to be. This is Benjamin Gaunt, signing off. Good night.
Tales from the Swamplands was written, produced, and, well, pretty much anything else by me, Sam McGrath. Music was written and performed by Morphalia. You can check out their music on Spotify or any updates on most social media platforms at Morphalia. That's MORPHALIA. Guest performer this week was Charlie McGrath. For any other updates to the Swamplands, you can follow me on most social media at The Swamplands or at talesfromtheswamplands.com. Thanks for listening.